We are live. Saulo and I are preparing, of course, to sit here now. And let me mute this because I'm playing it right there in front of you. Saulo and I are live to talk about City Hall today. That's what we're going to be doing. We're going to have a few conversations about what happened in this amazing Spurs revote day. There's nothing better in politics than a second vote over something you lost and an opportunity to come back and win again. It's amazing. It's wonderful. I wish I could have had a second vote just to come back one more time, just in case I could have found those extra couple votes I may have needed to be your mayor, but it didn't work out. I couldn't get a revote, but alas, Gina Jones did. Actually, you know what, Saulo? I did get a revote on something, Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A back in the day. Yeah, I forgot about that. Actually, I just forgot about that. We had voted Chick-fil-A out of the airport, and I was pretty pissed off about that, as were many of my conservative and Republican friends. And we turned around and had a revote on that and lost it again. So, you know, it is back-to-back losses on a revote. That seems to be the news of the day. Welcome. We are live. It is 8:04. Saulo and I are geared up, just getting the broadcast ready to bring it on back. We've got the cameras going. We've got the phones, got the microphones. We may have a few memes for you tonight. I don't know if we're going to be able to get them up. Last time we were just, testing the Wi-Fi and the internet. Today we're moving through a few extras, maybe some memes, something slightly inappropriate, maybe a James Tallarico joke here or there. Don't hold me to it. Maybe a Gina Ortiz Jones, a Mayor OJ joke. I don't know, but we'll see. But we're going to talk some politics, and then we're going to talk City Hall. We're going to talk the Spurs revote and a little bit about what's happening on that and recap kind of this day. I've got a clip to show you, but number one point I want to tell you as you go forward right now, and we do this next 30, 45 minutes, is what happened today is just kind of the story of where we're at as a city. It's the story of City Hall. It's the story of 10 individual districts and one mayor who can't ever seem to get along. It's the inability to get to 6 votes for the mayor. It's the future of San Antonio, the San Antonio Spurs. It's a championship run last year and a possible revote in a new arena, which turned in today to the possibility of no new arena. And now we've got this uncertain future as we go into 2027 with a bond package that's going to include more Spurs dollars. And we all have to step back and ask each other, is this the actual end of the line when it comes to the vote on the Spurs arena? I'm here to tell you probably not. I'm going to explain to you why tonight. So many thanks. And to Saulo Rodriguez, obviously, who's the preeminent podcaster taking care of it. So if you have any podcasting needs, I'm telling you right now, it's Saulo Rodriguez and S180 Productions. Give them a shout. We're going to knock that out. I want to say a quick thank you to Chris Duell and Mr. T. I was on WOAI this morning, 1200, for an hour and a half, and we talked everything City Hall, and we made some predictions on how the vote was going to go today. Check that out if you have some time. Big thanks to Chris Duell, Mr. T. Charity was on vacation, so I sat in for her today, and we hung out for about an hour and a half and just had a good old time talking San Antonio City politics. So let's set the stage for what happened today and kind of tell you how things unfold, because what you don't see, right, which is having been inside the system, right? So a couple of things I've done. I've been on the city staff as a council aide. I've been a chief of staff. I've worked in a constituent services office. I was an elected council member. I made a run at the mayor's seat, lost by teeny tiny amount, but I've done a little bit of everything at City Hall. So I've had the opportunity to see how all that machinery works behind the scenes. And then when it comes to election day or it comes to actual vote day at City Hall, how things actually work, the behind-the-scenes maneuvering, who's talking to who the night before, how things wrap up in the big vote of the day, and of course today it's the San Antonio Spurs revote. So let's kind of recap how this sets up. Mayor Gina Jones, so Mayor OJ, lost this opportunity a few months ago, right? Worked hard against Project Marvel. Now, all due respect, and total disclosure, I was against Project Marvel as well. Now, why was I against Project Marvel? The size and scope of it. I felt like the taxation was out of control, the spider web of financing tools that were coming to play, and I just think we have better things to spend our money on. We were at $489 million. That's the city of San Antonio. The county was at $311 million. The Spurs at $500 million. I guarantee you that's going to end up costing more money. But this vote happens at Proposition B last year. It passes 52-48. Clearly, there are people upset. I was one of them on the losing end of that. However, this thing passes. Now fast forward, and the mayor has an interesting question, which is this $489 million city contribution hasn't been voted on. So she has been pushing relentlessly for the last few weeks to get a public vote on the $489 million. Now, The end game for that, I don't know. I'm sure it's a public voice to some extent. I hope it's not to kill the San Antonio Spurs' opportunity to stay in San Antonio and therefore kill the arena. But she took this last stab at this to somehow or another bring this to a public vote, and that's what we witnessed today. Let me tell you how this actually works, though. And this is what gets lost in this entire machinery of the vote itself. The $489 million never required a public vote. Never. The city of San Antonio has authorized its council members and the city manager to bond that level of financing. They don't require that vote. They can go out there and use PFZ money, TERS money, and those are acronyms for basically taxable dollar values that are raised through property values and development and other things. And these financing tools don't require a public vote. So some of these general obligation bonds, like we'll vote on next year, GO bonds, they require a public vote, sure. As part of our every 5-year City of San Antonio bond program, that will require a public vote. But this $489 million never required a vote. And I've just argued from day one that the real problem isn't the fact we're trying to vote on it now. It's the fact that the city council can authorize that kind of spending without public authorization, period. So nobody broke any law. This is exactly how the system was set up to handle. The council made the decision, so 11 people made the decision to pass that $489 million. They didn't require the public vote, but here, fast forward, the mayor sees an opportunity to turn it into a political choice, right, to say, let's put this to a public vote. And we ended up today at City Hall in a special session where the council deliberated it. There was something like 60 people signed up to speak, so everybody got 3 minutes, and we went through this day today as we heard from multiple members of the public, including the San Antonio Spurs, R.C. Buford, Sean Elliott. A bunch of people showed up, people against it as well, and we heard from everybody. And then all 10 council members took an opportunity to speak. The vote was leveled, and it fell, right? The vote was not passed, 5-6. So the vote was 5-6 against a vote in November. The vote was never required, right? $489 million was already authorized. The citizens spoke last November, and this is why I was against the revote myself. Just for your knowledge, in last November's election, 250,000 people voted. 72% of those voters, right? 72% of them were City of San Antonio registered voters. Yes, they voted in a county election, but they said 52-48. 7 out of 10 council districts passed that Proposition B, saying, yes, we support funding for the Spurs Arena. Now, that was an overall kind of a blank check, I guess you could say, for the citizens of San Antonio, right? We're giving this $489 million. I see the overall goal of, well, maybe we should vote on that. Maybe we should have a second vote. Maybe since we're paying twice, we can vote twice. I see some of that, but the reality is the citizens of San Antonio knew exactly what they were voting for last November. And to say they didn't is just disingenuous. So we had to go through this entire process, come this morning, and debate it, and turn around, and the mayor loses once again, snatching defeat from the jaws of victory, 5-6. Now, I think we've got a graphic. Salo says Spurs vote. You can take a look at this one. Let's see here. Spurs vote. Here are the peoples and how they voted. So vote 2026. Thank you for this wonderful graphic. I think it was KSAT. And so you see at the top, look, the 5 people that voted in favor. Obviously the mayor, Jalen McKee Rodriguez, Edward Mungia, Terry Castillo, and Rick Galvan. That's generally speaking, those 5 vote together. And the 6 against was Suk Kaur. Then we got Phyllis Villagran, Marina Gavido, and Eva Lease voted. Misty and Mark all against the item. So we will not have a vote in November. Now, take it one step forward, by the way. This isn't, in my opinion, the absolute end of the Spurs debate, because coming in 2027, and this is very important, I'm telling you, you're going to get sick and tired of fighting over the Spurs here in the next few weeks, because coming 2027, the Spurs and the city are looking for $250 million of our 2027 bond to go towards infrastructure for Project Marvel, the Spurs Arena. The entire bond is only going to be $625 million, so they're going to come back and ask us for 40%, $250 million more dollars for the Spurs in that 2027 bond. To me, That's going to be a far worse debate than what we saw today. This works behind the scenes pretty easily. Those 6 votes were locked in before they even walked in. This morning when I was on WAI, I was kind of walking through it, and I said, look, watch Castillo and Mungia. If they budge a little bit, they're going to move with the mayor, and it'll stay 6-5. And sure enough, she lost those 6 votes and couldn't resurrect it and bring it back. But a lot of people ask how in the world this stuff even happens, right? Like, how do we even get to this? And part of the problem is, and I've said this morning, and I've said it as respectfully as I can multiple times, I don't think the mayor understands when you, at City Hall, the most important number you can think of is 6. The mayor took this on the road and went to senior centers. She went door knocking in some attempt to persuade the public that a second vote was necessary for the $489 million. But in reality, that's a missed understanding of how City Hall operates. You needed 6 votes to make this happen. That's how you were going to force a public vote. Our mayor, and I can't think of in the last 25, 35 years at least, a mayor, well, there's probably, I can think of somebody before that, but I don't need to mention that mayor. But Mayor Jones, it cannot in any way, shape, or form seem to get the 6 votes necessary to make something happen. I think she did it. She did it the one time in moving the election. But to have a mayor who's literally this weak and cannot pull 6 votes, what it leaves is this entire council kind of in a lurch. And on any particular issue, any council member can be the pseudo mayor, can be the stand-in mayor of the day if they can go get additional votes and pull people to their side. So Mayor Jones just simply hasn't caught on yet. And maybe she does, maybe she doesn't care, I don't know. I've seen her in public. I've seen her one-on-one with people. She's actually phenomenal. When she's working somebody, she's talking to somebody, she's engaging them. I saw her at my church. She showed up with her mother. She was talking to residents. It was personable. It was not the caricature you see in the media. She's working the room. She's talking to people. People like her. It's probably how she got elected in the first place. She just is likable in that one-on-one. But then she got this job and position and realized that it has nothing to do with what she thought it did. The mayor is 1 of 11 votes, man. 1 of 11. You're the same. The mayor has the same vote as Mark White. The mayor has the same vote as Rick Galvan. And if you can't convince 5 of your partners, right, or if it's, if there's fewer members that day, it could be a little bit less, but if you can't count to 6 and get a majority of the votes, you're never going to get anything done. The mayor's power, hear me out on this. The mayor's power is not about the position, right? It's not about this charter that gives him or her unlimited power to do whatever they want. It's about the power of persuasion, right? Like, how can I work with another member? How can I work with a colleague to obtain something, right? To work with them, to pass a piece of policy, an ordinance, right? To get a vote out of somebody, I have to understand what's important to them. And I say this all the time, and this is what matters to me about the city of San Antonio. You have to, if you're a mayor, right? And having served down there, I can speak to this fully. Let's say you're just a council member of one district, you still have to understand how the entire city moves and operates. And somewhere over the course of the last several councils, we shifted away from San Antonio type people, right? And we started electing people from elsewhere. And that's fine. I mean, we have new residents. People show up. They've been here a few years. They run for council. There's not a time limit. All you have to have is 6 months living in the district, and you can run for city council. And pay $100. Literally, that's the requirement. Well, you can't have a felony, but that's the requirement, right? You have to be 18 years old. So there's not this high bar to cross to run for office. But we've elected a lot of people who just haven't done a lot in our community or understand it. The mayor, right, doesn't know what it means to walk down Martin Luther King, hang out at that American Legion post, and then go to Stone Oak, right, and spend time up there, then down to Marbach. She may know Marbach because she went to Jay, but she sure doesn't act like it. But she's down there off of Marbach. Then how does she handle it when she goes inside, downtown on Buena Vista? How does she handle it on Hackberry? Every room you walk into as mayor, you're their mayor. And if you don't understand how San Antonio moves and operates, you're going to lose each and every time. This city is unlike any other place in the state. That's why we are the way we are. And there is a gift to this nonpartisan position, right? And I've always hoped that we could hold on to being nonpartisan, although those days are most likely gone. But the ability to hold on to that, right? To still say, you know what? I can be in that Republican stronghold up there on Stone Oak. I can walk over here to 151 It's more Democrat over there, right? 151, actually, that area over there, District 6, voted against Project Marvel. Then you can go down over to District 2 and understand how they live and work. That brings you the credibility to then serve, right? To understand, okay, if I'm Gina Jones, I know what Jalen needs in District 2 is not the same what Misty needs in District 9. So I have to deal with them separately and help them arrive at what's best for the entire city. And that's where she continually fails. You don't have to count to 95,000 to win every vote at City Hall. You don't need those kinds of voters. You don't need that. You don't need those voter totals. You need 6. Now, I say this with full honesty. What I thought was most disgusting about this entire process, times 2, because we did it with Project Marvel, the first vote last year on the propositions, and then we did it again, this one, is the way we treat each other in the debate. I disagree with Mayor Jones more than I agree with Mayor Jones. But I respect the person, right? And I respect the position. Do I think she made the right choice right now? No, I wouldn't have done it. Was it her absolute right to? Yes. Is she the mayor of San Antonio? Should we wish her the best? Absolutely. Now, you can post on here and tell me, you're full of it. She needs to go. Sure, I could wish ill will on her. But people, wishing ill will on our mayor is wishing ill will on our city. Now, you may have an agenda to be mayor, and I can respect that. Like, I was there, man. I served with Ron Nirenberg, and trust me, there wasn't a day that went by that I couldn't just take a fork to my eye and freak out at the absolute craziness we were doing at City Hall. And I ended up running for mayor, so it became a very divisive and difficult campaign. So I speak from experience on both sides, but I'm telling you, the personal attacks against the mayor, we did it during the proposition votes, and then we turned around and did it right now. There were people out there calling her everything from toxic to comparing her to the greatest sins of the universe, and she needs to leave, and she's trying to run the Spurs out of here. We don't know what she's doing or not doing. It was a bad leadership call. She lost the vote. Now we move on to the next phase. So what do we learn from this? And I'm going to give you the perfect example of why she cannot connect, why she actually fails. It's not so much Gina Jones is on target often. She is on target often. It's just the delivery approach and the way she handles and works with people. I got to play you this video clip of her and Mark White. Mark White, right? You got to love Mark White, man. District 10, that's my boy up there. Mr. Mark White got into a little spat with Mrs. Jones today, and now you'll see what exactly it looks like, and you'll see what I'm talking about, the little tiny mistakes that people make. If you can run that clip so people can listen to it.
Thank you for that. Councilmember White, just a point of clarification. While there was discussion for 3 months, the City Council was not actually provided the final number, $489 million per an email from the City Manager as of August 12th. We didn't even have that number, okay? We didn't have that number. No, hold on. No, when you say what you just said, I want to be very clear. The emails are all very clear about when we had the information and the exact number and when we did not have that. I want that to be clear.
Yeah.
Councilmember Spears.
Point of order. Did Councilman White's time run out? Did he still have time to rebuttal?
If you'd like to, please do.
Yeah, Mayor.
Go ahead.
Earlier today, one of the citizens to be heard put up all those documents on the screen where it was discussed last year about how this arena was going to be funded. So while the exact date that you're referring to as to when the 489 was presented or not, what we do know is the 489 was presented well before that November vote. And so the citizens of San Antonio knew that it was 311 from the county, 500 from the Spurs, and 489 from the city. So let's not sit up here today and try to rewrite history and again feed more misinformation into the community about what everybody was told last year. For months, we talked about that funding structure.
I know I took 2 minutes of your day you're never going to get back, but that is literally how this whole thing breaks down. The mayor picks a fight on semantics with Mark White. Mark White, this dude is coming to his own. You got to give this guy credit. At the first couple of months and year of his council term, he's just learning where the bathrooms were, man. Like, how do I get downtown? Where do I park at City Hall? Everybody does it. It takes you time to get your voice and figure your stuff out. Mark has come into his own. There's no doubt about it. He sat right there, as cool as a cucumber, flipped that mic over and said, yeah, let me tell you what I think of you. Proceeded to show the mayor zero respect. However, she brought it on herself. He shut her down, and then she came back again and attempted to, well, hold on a second. I'm technically right on the words. This is not going anywhere. Now, look, some mayors and some council members just will never have a relationship. I get it. But what you saw there is just a typical breakdown of where the mayor consistently fails at building relationships. You can't build that with Mark White. That has been nuked, right? That's napalm to no end. Mark looked right at her and just blew it off and just went on to the next issue and kept fighting. So credit to Mark White for keeping his cool. But for the mayor, here's the issue. For the mayor to even engage that is a sign of weakness. You may know you're going to lose. You may know the votes aren't there. But you don't elevate, right? You don't punch down in this particular scenario. Mark White is what he is. If I'm Gina Jones, I'm looking at Mark White. I heard you rail on it. Thank you. Have a good day. Next. Like, just move on. But when you engage that tiny little fight and you say, I cannot even let the words go, like the words are getting under my skin, like this guy, the mere speech of this man, I have to then interject, and then you lose the discussion. Like, you can't lose the vote and then lose credibility at the same time, fighting over semantics. And that's what this entire day was fighting over what citizens didn't know versus what they knew, versus a changed term sheet, versus no, it wasn't, it's non-binding, no, it's a TERS, no, it's a PFZ, no, it's this, no, R.C. Buford put that out, but I'm sorry, Sean Elliott said this. It just was this back and forth, and it has been like this for months, and what we get is what we have now, and that's a city council that under most days will never function or count to 6. Everything is up in the air, and I'll close with this about today's vote and I'm going to just talk to you about what's going to happen here in the future. This is the world we have elected, and this didn't happen overnight. I'm sorry. The budget shortfall, the problems it saws, CPS Energy, VIA and their Green Line, all these issues, let's be real, they're not Gina Jones's issues. They're not. She inherited a lot of crap. She got it from Ron Nuremberg, right? And I'm not, okay, well, Greg is, Greg, he beat Greg, so Greg's a little salty about it. And I'm just being real, man. $250 million to Ready to Work, which is a total and absolute failure. Climate change, all these social justice issues, money for abortion funds so people can travel out of state to get abortion, all these things that we're just spending all our time on, Travis Park monuments, all these things over the last several years, these last 8 years, have brought us to this moment. When you spend wildly, you get wild results. And that's what we have seen today. We've got a council that cannot seem to function or operate and get to 6 on any particular issue. So anything seems to be a bit chaos. Now, what does that, the message that sends to the community, right, to the state and to other opportunities that we may have or we may lose, is that if we don't have our business together, you don't want to do business with that town. Like, take, for instance, this thing with CPS Energy, right? Governor Abbott comes over the top, says, I want to take CPS Energy, break it up, it's a monopoly, and we have no friends in Austin. Why do we have no friends in Austin? Because the city of San Antonio City Council, under Ron Nuremberg, has spent the better part of the last 8 years destroying all political relationships. We thumb our nose at Austin, we trash them, we go after them politically, we mock them in press releases. We have a terrible relationship with the governor's office and the leadership in Austin, which is predominantly Republican. We know that for a fact, but we have a terrible relationship in there. So the governor comes over the top and says, I'm going to take CPS Energy, I'm going to break that monopoly up, and you're going to suffer now. That's when you have no relationships, this is what you get. So now we have this entire community built around these 11 men and women who are doing the best they can with what they've inherited. The mayor's best opportunity from here on out, and this is the key point. She does best when she gets a laser focus on the items that matter most to voters, which she is exceptionally well at delivering. She does exceptionally well delivering them. What are they? Budget cuts. She was winning wildly on cutting the budget. I'm sorry, Botanical Gardens. I want you to receive your hundreds of thousands of dollars, like not at all. Like, no thank you. The book festival. I love books too. I really do, right? But come on, $100 million to the homelessness initiatives. I've seen more homeless dudes roaming the streets than I have in the last 10 years. They're building little villages at I-35 and 10. Literally, man, they got like a 2-story building over there of garbage and homes, man. It's turned crazy. Issue ready to work, right? That is a total and complete failure. They promised 45, 50,000 people would get their degrees and move on and learn and get these great jobs, and it doesn't happen, right? Pre-K for SA, marginally successful. They want to authorize it for another 20 years. All these items have stacked up now, and now we got a budget shortfall. We started looking at how do we cut police, how do we cut fire, right? Where do we cut? Well, to be smart about it, I think the mayor jumped all over it and went right at the issue, which is which nonprofits, which government agencies are receiving money that we're not getting our return on our investment on. And if we're not getting it, cut them. Cut them down, get them out of here, and make them go become self-sufficient. When she does that, she wins, right? When she goes and tries to help the Bonham on a special sprinkler system and try to raise money for them, failure. When she goes and fights the Spurs, total failure. P.S. Don't fight them after a massive championship run where they nearly won the NBA Finals, right? Made this surprise championship run. Don't do that. She starts pick and fight after, like the wins are moving the election date. Like that's not a win. San Antonio as a whole does not move forward unless 6 of them at least start to consistently work together. So what does this look like going forward? It's going to be interesting, right? I can't. Everything looked like a 7-4, 6-5 defeat today, and now we go into this very critical budget cycle. So what do you look for over the next couple of weeks? Can the mayor refocus and get back to budget cuts? The answer is absolutely yes. Just needs to put this Spurs thing behind her and go after items in the budget. I mean, anybody who's getting money needs to be under the microscope. She wins when she cuts, right? She cuts the budget, but we have to, by the way, by our charter, we have to balance the budget. We don't have an option. This property tax raise thing, that's a little of a stinker situation. I'm not sure I'd raise that property tax rate if I was her. I'd go looking to be hacking bodies right now. Who can I cut out of this budget and move them on, man? I'm sorry, Botanical Gardens, all you people on that list. By the way, there's probably a list of 150 agencies that could use their money being cut right now. And they're probably sitting back saying, whoa, slow down. We need this money to function. We need it to survive. You have to, at some point, as a nonprofit or a non-government organization, you have to find a means and a method to become self-sufficient. You can't rely on taxpayer dollars forever, right? Let's get ready to work on the ballot and let's cut that thing out. Let's eliminate that like immediately. Not all these dollars can be transformed and reprogrammed and all this other stuff. We have to be very careful how we cut it, but we can, in this particular, stop spending money on things that are not giving us a return on our investment. So watch the budget cycle. Can the mayor pivot back to budget cuts? If she can get there, she's going to be successful. Can she get back out in the community and keep going on those interpersonal relationships? I like it when she shows up at neighborhood meetings. She shows up and walks into a senior center and makes friends with people. One-on-one, Gina Jones succeeds. Put her on the camera, it does not look good, right? Her best days, if you remember, are not in front of the camera. And it's partly just kind of how she delivers. It's more of a delivery and a pace of speech thing. It just doesn't play well in those settings. For now, she can work on that. But she needs to get back in the neighborhoods and communities and start meeting people where they're at. That's the key to success as a mayor. Don't meet people where you expect them to be, right? Don't expect it. You show up and go to where they're at. You meet them where they're at, and you're going to be successful. Budget, work on police and fire issues, find where these dollars are, help the community right, get these things cut, listen to each individual district. And by the way, go to every council member who voted against you and find out what matters most to them. And if you can find out what matters most to them, give them a bone or two, man. Throw them something here or there. No relationship. This is the truth of politics at City Hall. There's no permanent friends and there's no permanent enemies. That's it. You may be fighting over the Spurs today, but tomorrow Mark White and her, no, maybe not Mark White, but here, no, scratch that one. You could be fighting with her today on the Spurs, but she could be with Evilise tomorrow on something else. You just never know. It's an issue by issue, day by day thing. And then we'll go through this budget cycle. It's going to be very important. Watch where the cuts are. Watch how this budget passes. See what it looks like. And then we'll get into the end of the year and things will die down. And then comes 2027, the big issue is going to be the $250 million bond that we're going to have to vote on. Do we want to put $250 more million towards the San Antonio Spurs? The city, I think city leadership will try to bury those Spurs projects across the 5 or 6 bond programs. So if you remember, when we vote on a bond, we vote on categories: parks, streets and infrastructure, drainage, community centers. I don't remember all the names of them, but we break them out. If they try to bury the Spurs projects in individual groups to pass them, that's going to draw a big community fight. We need to vote on the bond for the San Antonio Spurs as a standalone item. And I can tell you right now, I'd vote against that in a heartbeat. I don't think the Spurs, and for that matter, this is where I think the mayor will do well, if she can get onto this topic. Downtown gets $0 more dollars. 0. No more money for downtown. The Spurs' $489 million is it. That's it. No more. Cut all this other Project Marvel crap out. All this other money you're spending downtown. Let's fight every stinking dollar that goes downtown past that $489 million. They get everything. It's too much. We've done this for years. We pump all this money into downtown, and it produces 0. 0. So we have to go straight at the heart of downtown. And this I'll tell you, the hotel occupancy rate's the worst it's been in 15 years. How do you think we're paying back all these bonds? Visitor taxes, hotel occupancy taxes, hot taxes. The tourism numbers are down. Our rent rates for our commercial opportunity, our commercial rent rates, our commercial occupancy rates are down. Everything is down downtown. It's all a failing entity. Yeah, there'll be every now and then they'll have an event or some good things moving and some people coming in, and sometimes it'll be the Final Four or a Spurs finals, and these things will pop up. Absolutely, that make us feel and look good about downtown. But the truth is, downtown is never coming back. And if it does come back, it's not going to change your life. It's not. No downtown is going to change what happens up in District 10 off Perrin Bidle. Downtown's not going to change what happens over at Pearsall Park for District 4. It's just not going to, my friends. It's not going to happen. Downtown may be the heart of San Antonio, but it doesn't pump blood anywhere else. Let's be real. It feeds nothing nowhere else. So most of San Antonio can't even afford to go downtown. 95% of us, right, in our community and city will never go to a Spurs game. We'll never hang out on Houston Street and go eat at Bohannon's. They'll never go to the Pearl. They'll never enjoy any of it because it's unattainable. So what I'd like to see coming out of for Mayor Jones, what I think would be just fantastic for her, is to grab the mantle of that person who cannot. Who's the have-not? If I were her, I'd go straight at those people. The have-not is the person who will never get to the Spurs game, who their only path to the Spurs game is if they're selling nachos at the concession stand. That's the person I want to go after, right? Who will never get there, who will never go to the Pearl unless they drive by it on the way to somewhere else. Which citizen, right, cannot afford to go downtown to River Center Mall and watch a movie? Can't afford the parking. Those are the people I want to find. We're building a mecca downtown. We want to. They want this Project Marvel and this billions of dollars for the sports and entertainment district that 95% of us will never be able to utilize. Folks, I'll leave you with this, and then we're going to have a little bit of fun as we wrap this thing up. But I'm going to leave you with this important statistic, and I want you to think about this. Please think about this. And this is why none of this ultimately matters to our lives as citizens. Follow me. The Spurs win their first championship in 1999. You remember that? I mean, it was a fantastic year. and strike shortened season. I mean, it was a great win. And it started a string of 5 championships that were unmatched. I mean, it was the greatest run in sports. The Spurs became one of the top sports franchises in the entire world. And we're proud of them. In 1999, when they win their first championship, they were worth $150 million, the franchise. Fast forward now, 26 years later, they've won 5 championships. Now they got Victor Wembanyama, the 3rd number 1 pick, make it to the finals. Brand new arena coming. They're worth $4 to $5 billion. $4 to $5 billion. That's a 2,500% increase or some ungodly number like that. The value skyrocketed through the roof. San Antonio's poverty rate is the exact same it was today as it was in 1999. The Spurs got infinitely richer. We stayed the same. Sports franchises do not change the face of a community. It's not their job to. Now, before you say, Greg, it's not on the Spurs to raise wages. Well, that's how you sold it. You sold it to us as transformational for the city, as it was going to change our lives. It was going to bring revenue and all these things. Nowhere in our country has that ever happened at any sports facility. And it hasn't happened through 5 championships. So to think that we get another championship, the race for SACE or whatever the hell you want to call it, let's say we get that 6th championship, I can guarantee you the crappy streets on Buena Vista that we can't get fixed, or on San Joaquin, or the Pearsall Park that needs upgrading, or Zarzamora on the south side, will look and be the exact same as it is today, as it was in 1999, as it was when the Spurs were here 53 years ago. Let's be real about this. What we fought over was passion, community. We feel good about the Spurs. It gives us an identity. We cannot lose that. We don't want to lose that. They make us better. Yes, we love it. It's a community pride and cultural thing. It does not make your life any better when it comes to the bottom line of your checkbook, the fuel in your car, the eggs in your refrigerator, your CPS energy bill, your water bill, none of it. So let's get back to reality. If the mayor gets back to that reality and she starts focusing on those things, she's gonna win. And she'll win against the likes of everybody who's down there trying to be the next mayor. She'll win if she focuses on those that have not. She's focused too much on those that have. And she went after them with the San Antonio Spurs, and she got burned again. So the haves picked it up, and they have another W. She needs to go to the have-nots and get them a little bit more. And that's where the success is going to happen. So keep an eye on those things. It's going to be it's going to be a crazy budget cycle. We'll do a few more of these, but I want to wrap up with let's just do a few memes. Can you put that? I got to do this. So we used to always do memes, which is stuff we found online that was humorous, sometimes offensive. I'm not going to lie. If you get your feelings hurt, tune out. But sometimes offensive, but always in good taste. Salo, let's look at a few memes. The internet always wins is what Salo and I call this. Give me a rando meme, Salo. Please don't be anything. Oh, hey, this lady right here. This is a hell of a marketing technique right here. This is a boomer. I love this realtor right here. If you voted for DJT, I am not the realtor for you. Nice. like that. That lady's going places. Pretty much, yeah, the unemployment line, but self-employed, no home sold. What else we got? Oh, yeah. Okay, people, I'm sorry. I can't go anywhere in the world without melting. It is literally lava hot. Of course, I hope the temperature isn't too high today, and our all-time favorite, Willie Nelson, blowing a cloud of dubage out right there, smoking weed. Gotta love it. It is literally that high today. And I actually had this candy the other day. That's why I put this up here. It's kind of a kiddie meme, but I tolerate people about this long. That's how long Mayor Jones tolerates Mark White. The time it takes her to chew that gum, she's already done with Mark White. Okay, I love this one here. I'm sorry. I don't mean this one. This one's borderline. It's a little borderline. Elon Musk. China will never be able to replicate our technology. China. Elon Musk. And this is absolutely true in the world today. Republican or Democrat, polyamory is it's necessary, because now it takes 3 incomes to survive. Hey, babe. It's about economics now.
It's about the tax
I'm just saying. It's the tax return. Can I claim the both of you? Current financial situation. I love that chocolate, melting chocolate. Get to my nice. There it is. We'll close with this one. Inspired by AOC, James Tallarico also elects to have his eggs frozen. The Babylon Bee is killing me. It's a beast. The Babylon Bee is a beast. So
you think they're becoming more daring?
The Babylon Bee is going beyond daring. Yeah. They're stepping into absolute nuclear winter, and I love every minute. I'm here for every minute of it. Oh yeah, here's another Babylon Bee one. Study finds most Americans trust Dr. Pepper over Dr. Fauci. I plead the fifth on that. 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 Dr. Fauci, I believed you, man. I believed you for like 10 seconds in like 2021. And then that was it. What is this, husband? Why are there 17 Amazon packages on the porch? Me, I plead the fifth. That's absolutely true. Well, you know this if you're, a husband. But if you drive through any neighborhood, don't be a porch pirate. Don't look creepy, but you can check out the multiple Amazon packages. And come on, man. You see an Amazon truck in your neighborhood 10, 15 times a day. Absolutely. All right, well, that's it. Had to do the Tallarico one. Look, I like James Tallarico. Seems like a nice fellow. But he's freezing his eggs. What's up with that? I'm just kidding. All right, look, that's it. Big day at City Hall, right? So you learn a little, you watch a little. Then you show up. I always close with a key fact about voting. You elect people, my friends, when you do nothing. You also elect them when you go vote. That absolutely. You go in there and push that button, hit that trigger. You make a phone call to your city council office. You reach out to your council member. You send in an email. You send in an idea. Engage it. But you also are doing work when you do nothing. So if you don't engage, if you don't understand, and then you show up and vote clueless, or you just show up and do nothing, you're also electing people, right? So the entire system is going to get stress tested this fall. As we go into November, it's going to be difficult across the nation. We're going to have all kinds of problems. The best we can hope for, and I mean this sincerely, and I hope you do too, is that Gina Jones figures it out, finds a bunch of friends, they work together, and they move forward and get some things done for the city of San Antonio. I'm thankful the Spurs vote went down today because I do want to see at least now some accountability. Let's get after holding them to what they promised us. Chances are it's not going to happen, right? Because what they promised never shows up. I mean, this is historically accurate and true. They never meet the expectation, but we got to hold them to it, and we got to keep working hard to make sure that the Spurs produce exactly what they said. But we don't want to lose those guys, man. So let's just stop, for the love of God. Stop, please. Give us a break on this Spurs stuff. We're thankful they did what they did at the NBA Finals. They proved once again their value and worth to the city. We lost track of that over the last several months. We found it when they were on a championship run. We lost it again the last month. That is on the mayor. She can repair all of that, though, by showing up, caring about what matters to people, delivering for the have-nots, because that's who we're here for. That's what makes San Antonio great. We care about just as much about that person who has nothing. We got to help that person. The one who has the least of us in our community speaks to the most of us. That tells us the story of San Antonio. So I hope the mayor goes after and gets after that. I love you, Mark White, for taking it down today and really doing the job. Misty Spears did a fantastic job also during this entire debate, working towards some goals, talking about who actually voted. Some great research by Misty Spears. And then we saw Rick Galvan on the other side today. Thoughtful over the last couple of weeks, enjoying what Rick Galvan's doing in my old seat in District 6. Terry Castillo knocked it out of the park today. There are good people serving, man. Good people down there trying. Let's give them a break. Huh? Oh, yeah, man. You got to listen to this Terry Castillo. I'm telling you right now, Terry Castillo's a beast. If there's a mayor's race today, and out of that 11, it's Terry Castillo. I know I've got friends. First of all, I don't think a Republican, no offense to Mark and Missy, I don't think they can win, obviously, in this city anymore. But Terry Castillo, I think, did a fantastic job today. I think, man, I would ask her to come on. I'll ask her. She's fantastic, man. And there's good people down there knocking it out. And I can go down each and every one of them, but I got to close this sucker up. But thank you to those who serve. Thank you to their families who let them go serve. We appreciate everything you're doing. As always, we'll be here. We'll come back on a random schedule. We're going to get this thing tight and right, and we'll show back up. From here on out, we're going to be showing the memes, getting a little bit better at the exercise. If you want us to talk to somebody in the future, let us know. Give us some ideas on topics. We will be here for you, telling it straight up like it actually is. And as we always close this little fun time out with, the Brockcast is out.